Hi, I'm Kelly Kramer.
And I'm Scott Sipker. Welcome to Central Iowa.
And our latest edition of Iowa Outdoors. Coming up on this episode of Iowa Outdoors,
we race through the rolling hills of northeastern Iowa.
Learn about the works of Iowa's most famous ornithologist.
Take to the skies over Dubuque.
Examine a blight impacting Iowa's deer.
And explore another trail in a minute.
We'll have all that and more.
So sit tight. Iowa Outdoors is about to begin.
Funding for Iowa Outdoors is provided by the Claude P. Small, Catherine Small Cousins, and William Carl Cousins Fund at the Lincoln Way Community Foundation in Clinton County to support nature programming on Iowa Public Television.
And by the Alliant Energy Foundation. Many of Iowa's natural wonders you'll find on Iowa Public Television can be found in Iowa Outdoors Magazine, the Iowa DNR's premier resource for conservation, education, and recreation activities. Subscription information can be found online at iowadnr.gov.
Preservation of the outdoors generally starts with a personal adventure followed by an educational experience.
Today we'll experience the history of a world-famous Iowa birder from more than a century ago, as well as a degenerative brain disease that's affecting Iowa's deer population.
But first, we'll lace up our sneakers and run through the hills.
Running is a time-honored way to enjoy the outdoors. All you need are some tight-laced shoes and a peaceful route to experience nature. Of course, if you're going trail running in Iowa's driftless area, you're in for an entirely different experience.
For runners looking for a challenge, Clayton County Conservation holds an annual 5K run, inviting competitors to sprint, jog, or even walk through the rolling hills of the historic Motor Mill site. While some are running to win, everyone is helping support conservation.
On your marks, get set!
We are at the Motor 5K trail run. So we're going to have a bunch of runners be punished by going up some steep but beautiful hills around the Motor Mill Historic Site. It's the third year of it. We usually get about 70 runners. The ones who come back really love it. It's a struggle for some, but they still enjoy the challenge. It takes all kinds. It's funny. We've got a lot of them who are trail runners, and you'll notice them by the big beards, the rugged shoes, that sort of thing. And then we've got some people who hate trail running but love the site and love to come out here and they'll walk it, or hate trail running but love the organization, so they want to come out and support us, and all of that's great by us.
As runners huff and puff their way through the hills, staying ever vigilant on the banks of the Turkey River is an important piece of area history.
So right now we're standing in the Motor Mill Historic District, and there are 5 limestone structures that were part of the original town of Motor. Some of the earliest settlers in the 1860s kind of took a look at this site on the river and said this is the perfect location to set up a grist mill for flouring corn and buckwheat and all those types of things. So that's kind of what got this massive 90-foot tall limestone building started. It is on the historic register. There's nothing of its magnitude anywhere else in the nation. And so it does draw a lot of people because they've never seen something like that. It has 7 different floors. It floods quite often, being built right on the river. But that's what it was meant for. Water is supposed to run through the basement and operate the mill.
Today the mill sits empty, waiting for visitors and donations to continue renovation efforts. But with new life running over its river and through its woods, the Motor Mill District might be in line for a bit of a renaissance.
So I joined Clayton County Conservation in 2015, and one of the things I noticed when I came on board is that they had been doing a 5K, but they had stopped and because they didn't have any runners. It actually used to be at our headquarters at the Osborne Nature Center, and I discovered when I came down here to run one day that there was a bunch of trails that not a lot of people knew about, so I thought it would be a great way to kind of introduce people to the site and see a part of it they don't normally visit.
With the 5K's return and revitalization, Clayton County is seeing interest from all ages, from grade schoolers to retirees. Runners are traveling from all over for a chance to bound through the Turkey Valley Hills. And with all the outdoor opportunities the area holds, it's events like this that make visitors fall in love with the region.
So the Conservation Board oversees 27 areas that are pretty unique in Iowa topography. We're in the driftless area, so we've got a lot of limestone bluffs and rivers. The Turkey River by itself is just kind of a gem because it is completely ensconced in bluff tops, and that's what makes it so scenic and so attractive for people to see something that they're not used to seeing.
While racers are guided down the excellent avenues to enjoy the district landscape of northeastern Iowa, their participation in the run also helps the Conservation Board further its mission.
So we've picked a different cause to go with it every year. The first year we put the funds towards building a hiking trail at Bloody Run County Park. Last year we put it towards some renovations at the Osborne Nature Center, which are underway right now. And then we also house several animals for display and education at the Osborne Nature Center. And they could use a little bigger tanks, specifically the turtles for the pond, hence our theme this year. We've got some turtles on our commemorative memorabilia. They're high-fiving a turtle when they finish. They're starting at 2 small turtles back there, so this year it's all about the turtles.
Way to go, way to go, way to go. Good job, good job, good job. Flip that turtle.
Admit it, even with the imposing ascent staring you down, part of you wants to head up to Clayton County and give the Motor 5K a run. Well, should you sign on the dotted line, know that while trail running is an arduous endeavor, it is equally rewarding.
One of the big things is you're doing a lot of really steep climbs because some of the grades are something you just won't find on a road. What's nice about that is we've got one of the guys who's run it all 3 years says, you know, it's really, really hard, but I like that because it forces you to slow down and kind of look around and enjoy the scenery. And I think that's what separates trail running from road running, is trail running really is about the experience, but regular running is more about kind of the fitness and internal motivations versus here it's really about enjoying the scenery and the experience.
The outer doors, there's nothing any healthier than this activity. And I'm a backwoods country boy, and this is my type of run.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah. For exercise. We weren't really that scared at the beginning, but then on our way we got lost like 3 times.
We went down the wrong trail.
Yeah.
We didn't really know what we were signing up for. We saw the course maps and the elevation, saw that there was some pretty steep hills. We'd ran a lot of trail runs like this, but it was definitely a race of its own.
Fun things. Well, I had a deer run in front of me. That was a fun thing. And then just the scenery is amazing up there. Just perfect. I guess we try to prepare for it, but we just like this one because it's a challenge. It's just not your typical 5K race.
It's a trail run. We're out with nature and we get to be out in nature. We both like to bow hunt and do all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of both loves all at the same time.
As racers round the last bend and make their way to high-fiving the finish line turtle,
Is that great?
Oh, awesome. The run comes to a close. And as punishing as it may be, the Motor 5K is definitely an enriching experience.
It's been really gratifying every year to see how much people appreciate this event. And that's just the culture. I don't think it's me specifically or this event specifically. I think that's just who runners are. And I'm really thankful that we get to show them a beautiful place that is probably not really on their radar before they come to this race.
More than 100 years ago, an Iowa ornithologist led construction on a signature scientific tower. Her goal was the advancement of research on a specific bird, the chimney swift.
Today, a group of Iowans have rallied together to continue that research and further the legacy of Althea Sherman. In Iowa's rural Cedar County, on a picturesque farmstead, rests a structure with a century-old long backstory. For decades, this outbuilding has been part of a long struggle of perseverance and passion for the outdoors. This tower, resting on the corner of a rural plot, was designed nearly a century ago and only recently arrived at its final destination. But for a band of birding experts, this place and this tower symbolized the legacy of an Iowa icon, ornithologist Althea Sherman. Born in Clayton County, Iowa in 1853, Althea was a 20-year art teacher who delved deeply into her childhood passion of birds and the outdoors. Her artwork of the goldfinch was later credited with contributing to its honor as Iowa's state bird.
We have come to realize that she is of interest from the perspective of history, ornithology, science. She was a woman who started this as a second career at the age of 50 and did her best works in her 60s, 70s, and 80s, which we just think is wonderful. I mean, what a role model.
Early in the 1900s, Althea combined intensive observation skills with disciplined study to turn the space around her home into an ornithologist research lab. Despite Sherman's lack of professional training, her keen eye and patience gleaned from years of oil paintings led her to build nesting boxes, observation blinds, and a peculiar tower specially designed to her specifications. In 1915, her most well-known structure was constructed, a 28-foot tower built with a false chimney, stairway, and observation windows, all specially designed to watch the nesting habits of the chimney swift and record its behavior. The medium-sized gray birds were known for wintering in South America and breeding everywhere from the Midwest to the East Coast. The tower would prove popular, and its research findings would cement Althea's legacy as a pioneer ornithologist. But after the self-taught bird expert died in 1943 at the age of 89, the tower drifted into disrepair. A half-century would pass before restoration efforts would commence.
And the roof was quite rotten, big holes in the roof. It was in a very dilapidated state. And even if they hadn't torn it down, we don't believe that it would have survived even that winter. It was in very, very poor shape. It was quite unsafe to go up into it, but we did.
In the early 90s, groups of Iowans under the banners of the Songbird Project and later the Althea Sherman Project worked to rescue the tower and bring it from a temporary home in Harper's Ferry to Iowa City for extensive repair. But it wasn't until 2009 when efforts kicked into high gear as a farmstead in Cedar County welcomed the tower. But preservation experts had significant work to not only maintain the structure, but keep its potential bird habitat and observation attributes safe for future generations.
Well, fortunately, we have documentary photographs that we're able to reference to see in fairly good detail what the exterior of the building looked like. There are a lot of notes in her journal about the actual construction and her thoughts on the construction of the tower. So we're cross-referencing those items.
The plan worked. Nearly a century after Althea Sherman hired a group of local Iowa carpenters to build a 28-foot tower, another band of Iowans gathered to place it in its new home, an idyllic farmstead near Buchanan, Iowa.
It's a great day. It's 20 and a half plus years coming. It's a lot of ups and downs and frustrations and joys and everything you can imagine over 20 years' time.
Cheers.
Yes!
After cranes lowered the structure into its new position, work commenced under the direction of the late Bob Anderson to establish bird camera viewing and listening areas in the Sherman Tower. Anderson, who was personally involved in the peregrine falcon restoration and the world-famous Decorah eagle nest camera, passed away in 2015. But he lent his passion for birding and expertise to the newly restored tower.
I just think it's wonderful. I mean, I truly think it's wonderful. I think she would have loved to have seen what bird cams could bring to education around the world. I mean, it's just, bird cams are used in classrooms from coast to coast now. It's fun. You know, we're on the cutting edge of this technology too.
Since its restoration and placement in 2013, the tower has had multiple visits from chimney swifts returning from their wintering grounds in South America. The tower now rests as a living, breathing monument to hardworking Iowans and the legacy of self-taught ornithologist Althea Sherman.
Really, really coming to realizing some dreams and goals here. And in a place, again, that, how can it be better, you know?
The Julian Dubuque Monument is one of the most picturesque landmarks on the Mississippi River. While you can visit the tower, it's a shame that the best view is from the river and hard to reach. That is, unless you're able to view Iowa by air. As impressive as Dubuque's Mines of Spain is, no visitor can reach these vantage points. An enticing mix of bluffs, wetlands, and of course the awe-inspiring Mississippi, it's easy to take for granted natural wonders like the Mines of Spain. That's why a fresh perspective is so valuable. Set on the edge of modern life, the Julian Dubuque Monument reminds us settlers have only been here for a few hundred years, but this landscape is much, much older and should be preserved for future generations to enjoy. The Mines of Spain, a picturesque Iowa destination if there ever was one, and a perfect place to see Iowa by air.
Deer are among the most abundant wildlife in Iowa, and one of the major game species targeted by hunters. That makes them a valuable part of the Iowa economy, too.
But a fatal disease called chronic wasting disease has been found in Iowa's wild deer population and could threaten it. The Iowa DNR needs your help to keep the disease from spreading.
Deer thrive in Iowa, and their success means a bountiful annual harvest for thousands of hunters. But the deer population could take a hit if people don't pay attention to the devastating effects of chronic wasting disease and work together to fight it.
Deer are very important to Iowans, whether it is for hunting or just for observation and seeing deer and fawns on our landscape. It's important not only to the Department of Natural Resources, but our public too.
Chronic wasting disease, or CWD, is a neurological disease that affects deer, moose, and elk. An abnormal protein called a prion eats holes in the brain, and the animal eventually wastes away. It is always fatal. The disease was first discovered in Colorado in the late 1960s. Since then, it has spread to several other states. It first appeared in the wild deer herd in Iowa in 2013. As of spring 2018, 28 deer have tested positive for CWD. All but one of those positive deer have been in Allamakee and Clayton counties in far northeast Iowa. The latest positive deer was harvested in Wayne County, just a few miles from the Missouri border. The DNR has held several meetings for hunters to learn more about the fatal disease and how to help.
Just get general information, kind of learn more about it, help out.
That way you can see how far it spreads or how it spreads, you know, keep helping out the cause, I guess.
This is like my third or fourth meeting I've been to. I like to hear about the updates and keep on top of everything. We always have Terry come and test our deer every year, since the beginning. So I want to support what they're doing because I think they're doing an excellent job trying to keep ahead of it.
Special hunting seasons in high-risk areas have helped gather more samples to study the spread. DNR officials remove the lymph nodes from deer to send to the lab for testing. The lymph node is where CWD will show up first in an infected deer. Iowa began testing for CWD in 2002 and has collected more than 68,000 samples from hunters since then. Some of those samples are analyzed at Iowa State University's Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory. The lab also runs tests on samples from other states. CWD is spread from deer to deer through direct contact or from bodily fluids like saliva or urine. The prions can live for many years in the environment where they can continue infecting animals. It can take from 16 months to up to 3 years for infected deer to show clinical signs of the disease.
Of all the positives we've had in Iowa so far, none of them have shown signs of having chronic wasting disease. They look like perfect body condition on these animals, showing that we're on the early onset of the disease, and it will be something that we'll probably find down the road.
There's no evidence of transmission of CWD to humans at this time. However, a recent study involving monkeys shows a risk to primates. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends that people never eat meat from a CWD-positive animal. Chronic wasting disease is much more advanced in Wisconsin. Wisconsin has had well over 4,000 positives, compared to the 28 in Iowa.
One of the things that we're watching carefully is our perimeter states where there are positive CWD deer in our neighbors. And in particular, we've been doing lots of sampling along the Mississippi River corridor next to Wisconsin and Illinois, where they have a lot of positives. And even though the Mississippi River is a barrier, it's not a perfect barrier.
So, what can you do? The most important thing you can do is offer a sample from your harvested deer to the DNR for testing. The DNR encourages you to attend a public meeting to learn more. Stop providing mineral and feeding sites, which are prime locations for spreading the disease. Properly dispose of carcasses, especially if you harvest in an area that's had CWD-positive deer. Don't just leave the carcass out on the landscape. Utilize dumpsters provided so it goes to a landfill. Report sick-looking deer anywhere in Iowa to the DNR. And keep hunting.
Be informed, keep hunting, and try to curtail the disease in Iowa.
We're here to manage the herd resource for the public. And so we want their help in helping us to manage this disease, stopping it or slowing it down the best we can until science can catch up and maybe giving us something better of a tool to be able to deal with the disease.
I do believe it can be slowed down a lot. It depends on if we have hunters in the area where it's found trying to protect the rest of the state. We have to have buy-in. If my deer herd takes a hit, I'm willing to do it to save everybody else in Iowa from having to go through this. Let's try to keep it contained.
Deer hunting is an important tradition in Iowa. With everyone's help, it will remain that way for generations to come.
Those of us that are old like me will have great deer hunting to the end of our lives. But we're thinking about, when I say we, the DNR is thinking about the children, the grandchildren, and the generations that come after this to make sure that they have the enjoyment of whether it's observing deer or hunting deer in Iowa for long years to come.
It's time for IPTV's Trail in a Minute, where we show you a first-person view of a different Iowa hiking, biking, or water trail each episode. It's a great opportunity to relive a previous outdoor experience or plan a future adventure. And it's a pretty cool way to view the Iowa outdoors. Take a look. Tagged onto the northern edge of the Luss Hills State Forest is one of Iowa's most challenging state parks. Seriously, if you're looking for a rugged hike through nature, Preparation Canyon State Park offers dozens of steep ascending and descending paths to hoof through. Cutting through hills, ponds, fields, forest, and streams, our 1.5-mile loop is but a glimpse of the untouched beauty and physical strain Preparation Canyon provides. Preparation Canyon more than fulfills its promise of beautiful views and peaceful adventures. But unlike more popular state parks, visitors will find few modern amenities on the campgrounds. In fact, while there are picnic tables and shelters, park restrooms are plumbing free and all campsites are hike-in required. So be prepared to pack out everything you pack in and leave no trace. As you start making your return ascent, make sure to take a few breaks, catch your breath, and examine the Luss Hills distinctive silt, found only a few places in the world. As our loop comes to a close, know that you've only scratched the surface of what the area has to offer. Preparation Canyon State Park, where a different hike awaits you with every visit. That wraps up this episode of Iowa Outdoors. We encourage you to get outside and enjoy Iowa's parks and recreational opportunities. If you're planning any outdoors travel, check out our extensive video archive of adventures at iptv.org/Iowa Outdoors.
While our episodes will continue to bring you outdoor adventures over the Iowa airwaves, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for extended features and extra content. And feel free to tag Iowa Outdoors in your online posts. Who knows, you might make it onto the show. For now, we'll leave you with more images of Iowa's outdoor environments.
Funding for Iowa Outdoors is provided by the Claude P. Small, Catherine Small Cousins, and William Carl Cousins Fund at the Lincoln Way Community Foundation in Clinton County to support nature programming on Iowa Public Television.
And by the Alliant Energy Foundation. Many of Iowa's natural wonders you'll find on Iowa Public Television can be found in Iowa Outdoors Magazine, the Iowa DNR's premier resource for conservation, education, and recreation activities. Subscription information can be found online at iowadnr.gov.